There was another time, like, I nearly actually got kidnapped.
By the guy you're on a date with?
Yeah, but, like, this was this different date.
Okay, girls, let's talk about dating because my dating life has been a shambles.
Lockdown has ruined dating.
So obviously, like, in the media, I'm portrayed as like this really sexual person. I went on a first date with a guy. First of all, he was like, oh, let's have drinks at the bar at like the Mayfair. I was like, yeah, nice. Then he's like, oh, actually, I can't be seen at the bar. Come to my room. So at first, I was just like, what the hell? Went to the room, and in the space of having one drink, like the first drink, he was like, oh, so what's it like having sex with a girl? Like, what do you do? Do you actually do this? Do you do that? And I was like, nah. I put the drink down and I walked out.
That's horrendous. That's like grim.
I don't think I know how to date. I'm like the most awkward person when it comes to dating.
I think people put too much value on like where you go and like if it's bougie. Like, you could literally go and sit in a park, perfect with a pandemic. Like, you could go sit in a park, but I think you've just got to have good chat and be open. Like, obviously, not too open. That's also a really bad turn off. I walked out on a date because this guy overshared way too much. I don't want to hear about your ex or like what her favourite colour was.
I just want like just good conversation, banter, just to feel comfortable. The last date I went on, it started off really, really good. Like, he was super nice and he was like, everything's about money. And I was like standing there like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna die. I remember sitting there and I just was so angry. Like, I didn't say anything. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, so I'm just gonna order my car home.
What?
And then there was another time, like, I nearly actually got kidnapped.
By the guy you're on a date with?
No, this was, yeah, but like this was this different date. And he seemed like he was really attractive. We had good chat, like he was really good. And then we went for a drink somewhere nearby, like where I live. We were leaving the restaurant and then he grabbed my waist and he was like feeling, but he was feeling to see if I was wearing underwear. Totally ignored it. I was like, okay, maybe I'm overthinking this. And then he starts like scratching my leg, not rubbing, scratching.
Who are these people?
And then he started asking what color underwear I was wearing, if I was wearing underwear. So I was just terrified that like if I reacted in a certain way, it could get really heated. And like I remember just sitting down, trying not to die, trying not to react. And then I got home, made sure he dropped me like some random place that was nowhere near my house. Then he texted me, he's like, oh, had such a great time today. I hope you enjoyed it too. Can't wait to see you next time. And I keep saying, am I on the same date as everybody else?
What the hell?
Oh my
Your
God.
dates need to be like up there with Tinder's worst date. I was so shocking at dating before. I was so nervous and so shy and what you'd be called frigid back in the day. Like, I was really scared of guys.
Yeah.
But when I met Alex, like I just initially knew I could be myself. And I think that I never found that before. Like, I would always feel so awkward, so self-conscious. And that's how I knew like Alex was the one. As you've grown older, do you sort of look for something different now? Do you date differently compared to when you were younger?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was all about looks. And like, if they look good, that's all I cared about. But now it's so much deeper than that, and it sounds so cliche, but so much more about personality. So do you know what's really different? Just with girls, I just feel like the rule book's just been thrown out the window.
Is there like no boundaries? Like, no...
Yeah, you're literally, it's just like going on a date with a mate, but you or like going out for a drink with your mate, but you fancy each other. Like, there is no, if you want to kiss, you'll kiss. Like, there's no awkwardness when it comes to the bill. It's just so refreshing, and I think that's why I really like gravitated towards girls, and it was just so new and exciting.
You know, this whole thing about sex on the first date, like that's even in like movies, like that's always a question. Do you think there's a right way or a wrong way?
I don't think so. If the date's going bad but the person's really attractive, I've just banged them.
I've actually got two friends who, well, I know the girl through him because we were his friend and they got together. But I think on their first date, they become girlfriend and boyfriend. Like, they knew. Do you think that's mad?
I think that's crazy. I don't believe in love at first sight. I think it's a lust. And I feel like you owe it to yourself to date other people.
Because I feel like I don't want to settle, but I'm very, very stubborn. Do you think when you met Alex, like you had to settle on like some things?
I did not settle in the slightest. Nowadays, people are sort of looked at as commodities and like you can sort of just throw each other away, but you have to work at it. It's not easy. Like, oh my God, I love hearing about you guys dating because like I don't get that.
I'm just gonna be single for the rest of my life, really.
I feel like we need to date together so we can look after each other. If anyone starts scratching your leg, I'll be like, get the